Welcome, everybody, to Foosball. We've got some great stuff to discuss today. Training camp has started, all kinds of great things. Like Micah Parsons, I have demanded a trade, but Doug Hype has told me to shut my mouth because I'm not going anywhere. So
You're not going anywhere, buddy.
But,
You know the olden days. You do what
Yeah.
we tell you to do, okay? You're not allowed to tweet.
all my contracts have been done without my agent. Now, I don't have an agent, but that's not my fault.
Yeah, that's the key. You don't even have an agent. That's smart man move,
Yeah.
youngin.
Yeah. So anyway, we got
2
Chief
years younger
Greengrass.
than me. You don't remember the olden days.
I don't remember the olden days of 17 months before. But Chief Greengrass here, Doug Hype here. We've got some interesting topics to talk about. So let's jump into it and see what our first topic is. We've got, what does a Packers successful season look like? So for those of you that are Packers fans, they are still the youngest team in the league, right? So we lost Jair, one of our veterans. We brought in a bunch of rookies. We're expecting a lot from Matthew Golden. So I was asking myself, like, what does a successful season look like? Do we have to take steps forward? Do they need to be obvious? So I've got some thoughts, but I'm going to go to our local Packers expert, Doug Hype. Doug, what do you think a successful Packers season looks like this year?
Well, the key is expectations, right? So, like, if you ask me or you ask, like, Dave, a Bear fan, we might have different expectations, right? Or, like, for me, it's always like, if we attain this thing, people can't really talk a whole lot of trash. They can't say, like, oh, you guys suck, or you're disappointing, right? Or you didn't meet expectations. So, for me, a disappointing season would be to go into the playoffs and do what we did last year. Like, if we don't look like we're a good team, like, I can accept going to the second round of the playoffs and playing amazingly great and just losing by a touchdown to another team and it's a close game and we just don't happen to win that game. I can accept that as a successful season. But if we go in and look like we just don't really have a chance to win it or don't really have a legit shot for the NFC Championship game, I would say, like, that's just not cutting it. This is not cutting the cheese at all.
Okay. Interesting. So, Chief, as a Bears fan, what do you think would be your worst nightmare for the Packers having a great season? What do you think that would be?
I think it's actually realistic for them to go all the way. They got the young roster. A good season for them has to be 2 wins in the playoffs. 2 years ago, we were happy when they made it to the playoffs. And then they faced against San Francisco 49ers, and they were right there. Jordan Love made a dumb play at the end, which did cost them the game, but he made it competitive. They were very excited to see, holy cow, we're already here. And then, and then we play the Cowboys. That was fun. You blew them out and whatnot. But now the expectation has to be, you need to win at least 2 games in the playoffs. You need to get to the NFC Championship game, if not the Super Bowl. So right now, you can't say Super Bowl or bust this year, but you have to say we need to see that next step. We've had a couple of years with Jordan Love. We've had a couple of years with the roster. They only have, they have 2 rookie wide receivers, but they have 4 others that came back. They have the tight ends that came back. They have the running game. Get everything else is there. Their defense took the step up. They were able to stop the run game, which has been, their Achilles heel for quite a few years. And so if you're able to stop the run game, that should help you in the playoffs against the Eagles or the Lions now. So right now,
the Eagles are there,
given what
right?
we saw last year, given the progression.
If we have to play the Eagles in the playoffs in the second round or something like that, and we lose to them in a close game, like, I feel like that's still successful, right? Like, because the Eagles are super good. Like, if you look at our roster,
but that's what you did 2 years ago against the Niners, though. So you're going to say that in the 2 years you have to progress, because the Niners were a great team.
The Eagles are a way better team.
Yeah, but losing to the team that makes it to the Super Bowl kind of makes you feel better, but does it really matter? Like, if who you lose
to?
Like,
we want to win those games, but I just don't feel like, okay, right now, do we really have the receivers to, like, beat, like, a Super Bowl level team? I'm not sure. Like, they're going to have to step up big time.
So, all right, let me go ahead, Dave.
I was going to say, who does Kansas City have as their wide receivers? I think Green Bay.
They've got an all-pro tight end. They got Travis Kelce, who they can go to whenever they need to play.
And Kansas City, let's be honest, has an extremely good defense. Like, the Packers showed improvement.
And the refs cheat.
Kansas City defense is light years ahead of where the Packers are right now.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the Eagles, not the Chiefs. We're going to have to play NFC teams. The Lions, the Eagles, they can be extremely good. like way better than the Chiefs.
Yeah. Well, so let's talk about that, because honestly, when I look at the Packers roster, do I say they have Super Bowl talent? I got to be honest, as a Packer fan, I don't think we're a top 4 roster in the NFC. I think we're close to 5 or 6 as far as roster goes, but there's a ton of potential. I think that because we are the youngest team, right? We've got rookie receipt. We got everyone on the offense, apart from Jordan Love, Elton Jenkins, Zach Tom, who just signed, and Josh Jacobs, are on rookie contracts. So that's 7 of your starters are on rookie contracts. So there's a lot of things the Packers need to figure out this year. So to be honest, as a Packers fan who's seen them in many, many playoff seasons where they looked great in the regular season and then they choked, or they looked mediocre in the regular season and then they got hot at the right time, right? Like the year we beat the Cowboys, right? And blew them out and then barely lost to San Francisco. We didn't look that great until about week 8 or 9, right? Where last year, so they overcame all this stuff, but Jordan Love was hurt, and then they started to get hot, and then they made the playoffs, and then they took a break, and they looked terrible the last 3 games. So to me, I don't know if our playoff wins are what I'm going to say is my expectations for either a good or successful or poor season. I think we're going to be in the playoffs. What I need to see is Jordan Love the guy? I love Jordan Love. He kind of didn't show me enough last year to make me think that he was going to be consistently good. Maybe he is a guy that just kind of goes up and down. But that's not necessarily me saying he's not good enough to win a Super Bowl, because you're going to have times where he's going to be up when the playoffs start and he could carry you, right? What I need to see is who in this receiver room is getting a second contract, who's going to be the guy, or who's going to be the collection of guys, because we're not paying all 5 of these guys in 2 years. I can tell you that right now, right? Maybe 2 or 3 will be on the team. Who's it going to be? And then on the defensive side, who's going to get to the quarterback? What's the D-line going to look like? I need to see massive improvement, because I can tell you guys right now, the Packers could win 11 games the same as last year, and I could be excited for them going into the playoffs, or they could win 11 games and I could be like, man, we're going to get smoked by the Eagles. Do you know what I mean? So I'm really more concerned about how this young team performs during the regular season. Are we a hot and cold team? Do we ride on Jordan Love when he's on his hot mode? Is our defense consistent? Did we get a little lucky last year because we played a lot of bad offenses?
The offense, Jordan Love and the receivers have to get on the same page. They need to get in sync with each other.
And I think his injury, and you could see last year, his timing in his throws was off. Like, even if it's just a millisecond or two with these young receivers, I think I blame a lot of the drops on them, but I also think because timing is so essential, having caught thousands of passes from Jordan Love, and then he's not throwing it the same, and it hits there just a second or two or a quarter second or two, not exactly where you thought it would be, because they're younger guys, they had mental mistakes because they weren't just watching it and paying attention. They just assumed it would be where it always was, but Jordan wasn't throwing it exactly the same because of the injury. So I feel like a lot of that's going to fix itself this year. But I need to know, is Jordan Love a hot and cold quarterback? Because, man, when he's hot, he's awesome.
I have bad news for you. In training camp, he kind of is still hot and cold. Like, if you look at those games that we didn't do well in, there was wide open. There'd be a wide open guy, 2 wide open guys on the play against the Lions, and he would not throw it to him. And you're like, what is he doing? Maybe everyone's just out of sync. Maybe they're not in the right place or whatever, but they're still wide open. And the next play, he throws some crazy pass while he's getting hit. That's just amazing. And it's like, bro, like, if you could just do all the right passes and not make mistakes, you wouldn't have to do the crazy, amazing, like greatest arm in the history of the NFL try passes, right?
You want to know who you sound like right now, Dougie?
Like a Bears fan, yeah.
I was gonna, that's.
I know. It's like
Caleb right there instead of Jordan. You sound exactly like all of the Bears.
But we saw that in the red zone too. In the red zone, you got to make quick decisions and know where the right guy's going to be at the right time and get it to him quick. Jordan Love has a little bit of trouble with that in the red zone the last 2 years. Sure. And in family night, no red zone scores, like 0.
Right. Well, I can tell you this. After watching Aaron Rodgers for over a decade, man, he was always so good in the regular season and then cold in the playoffs. Like, he just couldn't be himself. So I would much rather take Jordan Love, who rides the waves of hot and cold, because I feel like he'll hit that hot wave in the playoffs one year, right? I mean, I feel like if that's his, I mean, he already played great in the Dallas game, right? And he wasn't terrible in the San Francisco game. Maybe
he was good.
And then everybody was awful in that Eagles game, not just Jordan Love. He made a bunch of mistakes, but
he's got to find a couple wide receivers to lock in with. If you look at his amazing plays when he's throwing touchdowns, he's locked in, and he's locked in on Kraft or some
Right.
receiver, and everything just goes according to plan. Everyone's in the right place. So a lot of it's
Right.
like them being young and stuff. I feel like it's a two-pronged problem. Jordan Love's trying to get to the next step. If the receivers were consistent and always in the right place, it would help him a lot
Sure.
to do that. But because the receivers are also inconsistent, and that makes me like pause a little bit about like, okay, this is my question for you, Derek, on this topic, and Dave also. The Packers go into the NFC Championship game, the game before the Super Bowl. Like, how can they do that against these monster teams like the Eagles and the Lions? Like, who is Jordan Love going to be throwing the ball to? And what are they going to be doing? He's going to throw slants to Jaden Reed and he's just going to take it 60 yards and golden? Or is he actually going to be like throwing those deep passes? Because when he goes deep, half the time he's just throwing jump balls to like who knows what and hoping that it goes well. Like, how is he going to find a way to score, 35 points against these like elite defenses like the Eagles?
Well,
Do
that's
you,
what I think.
Do
Go ahead,
you
Dave.
have a big badass running back?
We
Yep.
do.
Do you have a powerful running back?
Yes.
Yep.
Do you think that it'd be beneficial if you get in the red zone? Because this is one of the things that pissed me off about Mike McCarthy. He wanted to show, okay, we're down. We got 1st and goal from the 3. We're going to
Yep.
show how smart I am. We're going to line up in shotgun, and we're going to pass the ball 4 times.
Yep.
And that's why you had one of the best quarterbacks of all time only win 1 Super Bowl ring, because you're like, okay, we got to pass. We're down in the 10.
It was smart when
You-
he was like 26 and he could run so well, but then as he got older, like Rodgers, he's
But
not
you
like
have a stud there you have a stud halfback. He can move piles. You have a young, very good offensive line. Your offensive coordinator.
it is how they scored
So-
most of their red zone points was Josh Jacobs.
Exactly. And that's what saved you. You won all of those games last year when the receiving wasn't good because you leaned on Josh Jacobs. So why not lean on play action when you're in the red zone? So
They
that
might
way
be doing that, Dave, because you look at the guys they're drafting, they might think like, hey, Jordan Love, maybe we can't really rely on him to always make the right play. Maybe we have to just beef up the line and run the ball a lot.
Well, okay. I think there's a balance of both. So
It takes pressure off him too.
So here's an interesting fact for you guys. So the Jordan Love's first year, like I said, they started kind of slow. Then he got really hot, and then they got in the playoffs and they blew out the Cowboys. So their offense looked great. They actually scored more points last year than they did the year before. With Jordan Love's injury, with Jordan Love missing 2 games, they scored more points. And Jordan Love had less touchdowns because we had Josh Jacobs and we ran the ball with Josh Jacobs in the end zone. So Love's stats his first year, and I hate to use this word because I thought he was good, but they were a little inflated because our running game was so bad that we only had like 8 or 9 running touchdowns all year, right? And like half of them were Love's too. So he had like 3 or 4 rushing touchdowns. So our running backs had like, I think 5 or 6 rushing touchdowns that year. So he had like 33 touchdowns, 11 picks. The next year he's 26 touchdowns, 11, but we scored more points on offense. So we improved on offense with all the drops.
Because we had a good running game.
So
That's
this becomes a big premium here. So the question, what does a Packers successful season look like? Do you want to have Jordan Love throwing for 4,200 yards like he did 2 years ago?
No.
Or do you want him to only throw for 3,300 again? He missed 2 games last year. But do you think – I think you have a more successful season if he throws for under 3,800 yards.
I agree.
Does
I
that
think
mean you're going to be
37
balanced and you're going to be running more?
Yeah. I would like to be around 37, 38 and not be a primary passing team. Like, I don't want to be the Bengals, right? As great as it is to watch the Bengals, like, they score quick, they throw all the time. Like, we need to control the clock. We need to control the ball. We need to be able to run when we want to run. And at the end of the year, until the last 3 games when they decided, to take their foot off the gas, that running game was cooking, man. And there's a reason we overpaid Aaron Brooks from the 49ers, because he is an excellent run blocker. Not so much on the pass, but he is an excellent run blocker. And hey, if we're moving Jenkins to center and we're going to have Morgan or we're going to have, I'm sorry, Doug, what's the other right guard that we have that plays behind
Zach
Jordan
Tom?
Morgan? No. Zach Tom's our right tackle.
Right guard. Sean Ryan.
Sean Ryan, also a very good run blocker.
He's a
not a
nasty
great
guy.
pass blocker. Yeah, nasty run blocker. So like, hey, maybe we're more of a power run team, and then Love throws it deep. And because here's the thing, dude, I don't need Jordan Love to be Drew Brees. I don't need him to throw 42 times a game and have a 74% completion percentage. I'm fine with 65 because he's going to throw some bombs when the team creeps up on the run, and we're going to get some of those, and we're going to get quick scores, and we're going to be explosive. So here's another thing. Jordan Love's first year, the Packers were 7th in explosive plays. Last year, they were 3rd in the NFL in explosive plays. So, like, they are a dangerous offense. So I want to see them keep that up, have a little more consistency. And then, yeah, can we continue to grow and become dangerous? Because I don't think we're a Super Bowl contender. I think if we made it to the NFC Championship game, which I predicted we would make it to and lose, I would be very happy with that. I would be very happy with that, but I don't necessarily expect it.
See, this is the thing. Like last year, the running game was good. Jordan Love did miss a lot of passes. He did not play up, even though PFF had him rated pretty high. Like his rating was like a 72. That's pretty good. But like if he would have been hitting those passes, his PFF would have been like a 90. Like because the running game was allowing
it was opening up the field pretty well. Yeah, it was opening up the field for him.
And the thing too is that defenses were pulling their guys up. They were not even afraid of the pass at all. They were pulling all their defenses, pushing them the line of scrimmage to stop the run, and they were not taking advantage of it. So from our eyes as a spectator, we're like, that was not a good season, even though you can look at the stats a different way and make it good. But
even though they technically performed better in a lot of ways.
That's the thing is like the opportunity was there. It was absolutely perfect for Jordan Love to throw for 4,000 yards, whatever. So I don't think 4,000 yards is bad. They can still run the ball a lot and him get 4,000 yards.
I'm a lot less focused on his stats and more focused on points per game. How many points are we scoring per game? Because that's what really matters at the end of the day. And if Jordan Love's
look at the Lions, they scored 33 points per game, but were they really that good? No, it's because their defense was that terrible. It was
true. That's also
they're down to their third string, and so that's where the head coach Dan Campbell came out and said, "Okay, we're not even going to sugarcoat nothing. Offense, you have to score 34. That's just plain and simple."
Yeah. Josh Jacobs had 300 attempts at running last year. That's the second most of his career.
Exactly, which Dave talked about in a previous episode. Maybe that's not sustainable either. So, but
they do need other guys to play. But the thing is that they did run the ball a decent amount. And I would expect Jordan Love to have a lot more stats in that situation.
Well, and I also think because of the injury and because of the fact, we had Malik Willis in there for 2.5 games, people forget he played the Bears game.
He did great.
Right? Yeah, he did okay, but we ran the ball a lot when he was in there for a reason, right? So, all right. So we're talking a lot about the NFC North. Let's go on to our next topic, which is very relevant. Which NFC North quarterback will have the best season? Now, we all know Jared Goff is pretty good. I think he might take a bit of a step back. So let's leave Jared Goff out of this because he seems probably the most, at least consistent as far as what to expect. Yeah, what to expect. We don't know what to expect with Caleb and his new coach. J.J. McCarthy's never played an NFL game, and Love's coming off an injury-plagued season with new wide receivers and, all this other stuff. So we talked a lot about the Packers. Let's start with the Bears, and let's go over to Dave. Dave, what do you expect from Caleb, J.J., and Love this year, and who do you think maybe not has the best stats, but who do you think is the most impressive by the time Week 17 is over?
I think that the one who's going to be the most impressive looking, I think Love really has the best chance just because he's had the most reps. He's had the most experience. He knows the offense. He's had more time to learn how to read NFL defenses. So I think from that standpoint, I think he's going to have the best year of the three. I think between Caleb and JJ, I think JJ's going to have the better year than Caleb.
Really?
Because they have the weapons. I like what the Bears have for weapons, but we don't have Justin Jefferson. You're not going to have Jordan Addison for all the games. So Jordan Addison is a pretty damn good wide receiver. Hawkinson's a reliable halfback. They have a solid offensive line. They already had two of the best tackles in Minnesota. They upgraded the interior. They drafted the guard out of Ohio State, who's going to be pretty badass for them. He looked pretty good. So they solidify that they already have the attacking defense. A lot of this sounds like what the Bears have, except we don't have Justin Jefferson. And they have a coach that everyone else in the offense, they know the coach's system. The wide receivers, the linemen, everyone else does. In Chicago, everyone's starting from scratch. Everyone's having difficulty with lining up in the correct spot, getting the cadence, everything else on. All of the little detail that Minnesota, that's established. The only one who hasn't done it is a quarterback.
Fair enough. Okay.
So I say J.J. McCarthy, he's going to have the better year. Everyone else knows the system. It's by a landslide, I think.
Because of that, do you think the Vikings finish ahead of the Bears in the standings?
Oh, yeah, easily.
I believe you did pick that. Yeah, okay. So you do pick. Okay. Yeah, all right, Heist, let's go over to you. So I think we all kind of agree that Jordan Love is most set up for success. But I guess my question, too, is do we see Jordan Love taking the step to being elite quarterback? Because the way that Caleb was drafted, obviously the expectations are he's elite. And, JJ McCarthy playing in, Michigan and getting drafted again, fairly high, maybe not elite, but people expect a lot out of him. So I think Jordan Love needs to take a step, even though his stats might be better. If Jordan Love doesn't take a step forward, I wouldn't say he had the best year for me personally, right? So, but let's go over to Hype. Hype, what do you think about these three? What do you expect out of Caleb, JJ, and Love as we go into the season?
So, I think Goff is going to have the best season as far as, just winning. You know what I mean? He can
we
be
all
a game
agree on
manager. He doesn't have to do as much. He has good receivers, too.
Yeah.
He's already had 5 seasons where he threw for over 4,400 yards in his career.
Yeah, and the young receivers on their team are maturing now. I think he's going to have 2 legit Pro Bowl level wide receivers on his offense now, talent wise, right? Both of them might be better than any wide receiver on the Packers right now, possibly. Williams was literally a first round draft pick out of Alabama or whatever, and he was supposed to be he was injured a little bit, but he was supposed to be super good, right? And now he's kind of catching up and everything to the offense from being hurt all the time and suspended. Anyways, they have a really good tight end like Laporta, right? Who is a Pro Bowl tight end. So he's set up for some pretty good success. The thing about Jordan Love is if we get the offense humming with Christian Watson, Golden, and Reed out there and Dobbs really making moves, he could surpass Jordan Goff if he takes that next step because
Well, how about Jared Goff?
Because he likes to throw deep and just make big plays happen and stuff. You know what I mean? That could happen. I'm not saying it will. It's more likely that he's a little bit a notch below that as far as success and wins. Even though I do have the Packers winning the NFC North because I think overall their defense and their running game is going to do really well this year because of their upgrades on the offensive line. Last year, the offensive line was not as good as people think. They couldn't push people around. They were more scheming smart than they were being able to push people around. Now they have guys that are better. Josh Myers was a terrible offensive lineman. He was a -5 EV value on the team. All that kind of stuff, right? So I think Jordan Love is going to have around 4,000 yards this year. And I think JJ McCarthy for the Vikings is going to be not as good as Sam Darnold. I think all the things from training camp are saying he's looking great. He's looking awesome. He can make all the pro throws, but that's because he's a rookie. Your expectations for a rookie you haven't seen are really low, right? You're here. When you get into real games and having to real situations, he'll probably, I think, play better than a rookie. He'll probably play well, but I don't think he's going to be on the level of Jordan Love. And then Caleb Williams, literally just yesterday, he threw a temper tantrum because he couldn't hit any targets on the field. He's just having accuracy issues. He's angry. Who knows, whatever. But I think Caleb has a little bit of an accuracy issue. So and then also his new offense, new learning stuff, that's going to take time. It's going to be next year when Caleb Williams really probably shows to be the quarterback he really is. I just think it's too hard for him this year.
And one funny thing that everyone's well, you saw what the coach did with Jared Goff, right? So why can't you beat Jared Goff? And I'm Jared Goff was taught for 5 years how to be a quarterback by Sean McVay.
By Sean McVay, exactly.
So you got to realize you can't just say, "Oh, this is just Jared Goff." McVay didn't want him. I'm no, he got coached by McVay for 5 freaking years. You can't just say, "Okay, here, Rick, why don't you be like this?" It's no, the experience is a lot. He had a lot of coaching in his career. I think Doug hit it on the nail. Give him a year.
Yeah, Jared Goff has the brain and efficiency and accuracy and precision that Jordan Love wants to be at.
Yes,
there are games where Goff throws 5 picks or whatever, just because he's not his talent, his arm talent is not as good as Jordan Love, but his brain, his efficiency, his accuracy, and knowing where to go on time, he's just on it. He's making the right decisions.
Well, and he's been trained by like Dave said, McVay and by Ben Johnson, 2 of the best offensive minds in the NFL in the last 20 years, potentially, right? So, yeah, I mean, Jared Goff to me is a perfect example of why coaching matters. If Jared Goff was on the Browns, he would probably be out of the NFL. He's not winning you football games by himself, but you put him in a system where he can use his best attributes and his best skills and use his brain and use his limited because he doesn't have huge physical abilities, like we said, but use them to his advantage, like, yeah, he can be an amazingly good quarterback. So this is what I'm going to go to in here. I think JJ McCarthy's in a very good situation in Minnesota.
He could win the NFC North this year as a rookie, playing just okay.
No. So this is my point. I think JJ McCarthy's in a very good situation in Minnesota, but I don't think JJ McCarthy's skill level translates to quarterback as much as Caleb's does. And I'll tell you why. Caleb is erratic. Caleb is a little off the hook. Caleb plays a little bit of backyard football, and he's got a lot to learn, and he's got a lot that he's got to work on. JJ McCarthy's a good athlete, but JJ McCarthy does not throw balls into small windows. And that's what the NFL requires. If you look at JJ McCarthy's tape at Michigan, he has some really good throws, but the majority of his throws are one-on-one, over the shoulder or off to the side, where there's no safety covering because everyone's worried about the run at Michigan, right? Everybody was worried about the run. When you played against Michigan, you didn't care what JJ McCarthy did. You had to stop the run or you lost. So he was not throwing into tight windows. And if you can't do that in the NFL, you cannot win. He is going to struggle this year. He is going to struggle because he's got to put the ball in a space this big in order to be successful. And he's never been asked to do that before, right? And he's coming off an injury, so he's going to be a little bit slower. And do I think he's going to be successful? I do at some point. And I think that Minnesota offense is set up for him to be successful, but he is going to find out the hard way that, like, because the run game in Minnesota, I love you, Aaron Jones, is not what people are worried about. They are worried about Justin Jefferson and Addison and Hawkinson. They are going to stop the pass and let you run the ball more. And that is not what JJ McCarthy is used to either. So I need JJ McCarthy to show me that he can make those tight window throws in the corner, over shoulders, in between defenders, because I've never seen him do it. And he's been struggling in practice and missing a ton of throws in practice because he's trying to be perfect, and he's never been asked to be perfect before. So he's going to take a while. So my thing to you, Dave,
the schedule to him is very kind, though, if you look at it.
Yeah,
that is true. It is much better than the Bears schedule.
Week 2, Atlanta. Week 3, Cincinnati.
That's
week
what I'm
5,
saying. They can
week,
win the
week
division.
5.
He's not
Atlanta could be a little better on defense this year.
They could be, but to begin the season, that's not a murderer's row. So he has some opportunities to learn. He's not going to be lighting up the score, but that's a good place to grow. He's going to get his tail kicked in the middle of the season, and then at the end of the year, he gets Washington, at Dallas, at the Giants, Detroit, and Green Bay. So those are somewhere it's not as bad. So he still has a chance.
But when
you look at Green Bay's last 4 games, at Denver, at Chicago, Baltimore, at Minnesota.
Yeah, that's going to be absolutely brutal.
So the Vikings are kind of set up to where they can get some momentum at the end. Green Bay, if you have momentum at the end, you earned it. You're going to be scary because that is.
They totally could win the division and just lose in the first round again. But the Vikings could totally do that.
The Vikings, people think that Sam Darnold was successful last year just because of Kevin O'Connell. Like, Kevin O'Connell's had other quarterbacks, right? And the offense has been good, but Sam Darnold was great. Dude, Sam Darnold was a top 5 quarterback, guys. He went to the Jets and the Panthers. Like, again, if Sam Darnold was under Sean McVay for 5 years, that's what he would have looked like. Do you understand? He was on terrible franchises. He finally goes to the 49ers, remember, under Shanahan. He plays for them, and he looked really good in San Francisco. So the Vikings bring him in, and yes, he looked really good in Minnesota because guess what? He's actually a good quarterback that went to terrible franchises, right? Sure. There's no guarantee that JJ McCarthy's going to look anywhere close to what Sam Darnold was. People think Sam Darnold was a washed out quarterback. No, he was with bad teams. And that's what I'm saying, the Jared Goff thing. If Jared Goff was on those teams, he would look worse than Sam Darnold, and he's putting up great numbers. So to that point, I think Caleb Williams is going to take a step forward this year because Ben Johnson is going to beat it into him. Because Ben Johnson, so Caleb was complaining that his coaches weren't watching tape with him last year. Ben Johnson is going to be in his bed at 4 a.m, shouting in his ear, telling him he's a piece of crap because he can't make a throw. And that's exactly what Caleb needs because he's been his whole life told he's the best. He goes to USC and, he plays for probably.
He does need it, but I don't know if it's going to work. He's been throwing tantrums in practice.
Good.
I hope
that he needs to grow up, dude. He needs to grow up. If he wants to be successful in the NFL, he needs to understand he ain't the shit. He is the 20th best quarterback in the NFL at best right now.
Would Brett Favre have been Brett Favre if it wasn't for Mike Holmgren?
Yeah, Mike Holmgren beat the crap out of Brett
Oh yeah,
Favre.
exactly.
Yeah, all day, every day, because
He's
Brett
like,
Favre
"Can you
thought he
stop
was the
showing up
shit.
drunk to practice?"
Yeah. No, dude, Mike Holmgren belittled Brett Favre. He talked crap to him. He basically made him feel like a child. And I hate to say this,
Well,
but
to be
I feel
fair,
like,
he is a child still.
yes, that's true. Mike Holmgren's a smart man. But I think Caleb needs to be, and humbled isn't necessarily the right word. I think Caleb needs to get beat up a little bit to understand what he needs to do to be successful. And I'm not saying it's not because he doesn't work hard, and I'm not saying it's not because he doesn't have the talent. I think Caleb just didn't know how to succeed in a way that was going to be beneficial in the NFL. And he didn't have the right coaching last year. He's got the right coaching now. So I think eventually, maybe not in the first couple weeks, and the Bears also have a brutal schedule. I think eventually, even though the Bears could only win 7 or 8 games this year, Caleb is going to start looking like the quarterback he should be. And he's going to look better than JJ McCarthy. And for me, that's going to say I'm going to say he's going to have a better season, even though I think the Vikings might win one more game. I am not a quarterback wins guy. I am what did the quarterback do to help me win guy. And I think I think Ben Johnson is going to force Caleb to become a better version of himself. And I don't know what JJ McCarthy's version is right now. Right. So I'm going to go with Caleb. That's just my opinion. So, all right. Well, that was fun. Let's move on to the next topic, folks. And that is, can the Eagles take over the Chiefs as the evil empire of the NFL? So let me explain this. So I was thinking to myself and have discussions with some friends the other day about, is the NFL better when it has an evil empire, right? When it has, the Cowboys of the early 90s, right? The Patriots for way too long in our lifetime, right? The Chiefs most recently, like a team to hate, a team that you're sick of, a team that just wins all the time and you can't stand it. It's actually kind of good, in my opinion, to have that evil empire. And I kind of feel like the Eagles may overtake the Chiefs based on their age. But first, I want to get your guys' opinions because, man, I hated the Patriots. I can't stand the Chiefs now. But part of me is glad that those things exist. So I'm kind of curious what you guys think. So, Hype, let's start with you. A, do you like an evil empire? And B, do you think the Eagles could become one?
They can. The thing about an evil empire, so when Tom Brady was winning all that stuff, he had like these guys that would show up like Gronk or Randy Moss, and he had Bill Belichick there to always give him some like injection of something just to get him that extra thing that they needed. And Gronk was awesome, and they were kind of the same age-ish. The problem is that the tight end on the Chiefs is old now. And so when he's gone and doesn't have that safety valve, I think something's going to change the chemistry of the Chiefs. And I think the Eagles have a chance now. It's going to be hard, though. You got to have consistency, and you have guys that are going to stay on that team. You can't just have guys moving around all the time. And maybe they can do it if they can keep that team together and having a really good defense is great. But they need to have Hurts, the receiving core, a tight end or something that's there consistently, and it's going to be really hard. There's maybe like a 1 in 5 chance that they can do it.
So let me bring something up to you guys, because every evil empire is known for its offensive players, like Michael Irvin on the Cowboys, right? Troy Aikman, the Tom Brady on the Patriots, right? Rob Gronkowski, Patrick Mahomes on the Chiefs. But do you know what every evil empire actually had? Was an amazing defense. The Cowboys' defense in their run was unbelievably good. It was better than the offense, guys. Their defense was higher ranked than the offense. People forget that because all the cigars and strippers hung out with the offensive players at the nightclub, but the defense was winning those championships, man. They were causing turnovers. They were dominating. Everyone knows for the Patriots it was the defense, except for one Super Bowl that everyone wants to talk about that Tom Brady was good in. But like that, it was defense for the Patriots. And the Chiefs, yes, their first Super Bowl was Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes' offense, and it looked great. But guess what? The reason they've been successful and continually successful is their defense. So the Eagles, you look at their defense, that's what won the Super Bowl last year. Jalen Hurts had a great game, but that Eagles defense destroyed Kansas City by itself. We could have ran out a good college team in that game with that Eagles defense, and they probably would have won. So, that defense was unbelievable.
That happened with the Broncos dynasty teams too.
Well, the Broncos, mini little dynasty as well. When they went back-to-back, their defense was amazing, right? So the Eagles have a really young defense, which is terrifying. That's what scares me. Not Jalen Hurts, not Saquon Barkley, right? Not even A.J. Brown, who's a beast of a man. They don't scare me. The fact that they have 4 or 5 like ridiculously good players who are all young scares the crap out of me. So, Dave, let's go to you. Do you like Evil Empires? Do you think the Eagles are going to take over the Chiefs as the next Evil Empire?
I absolutely love Evil Empires. When the Chiefs first dethroned the Patriots, I loved them. I thought it was great. It was amazing because everyone's like, oh, look at this guy. He's the next Aaron Rodgers. And a lot of people are saying Rodgers and Mahomes are the 2 best quarterbacks in the league. A lot of people in Wisconsin were happy for the first 2 years.
Yeah.
And then Rodgers kind of went down, and then, but yeah, and then they turned in the Evil Empire. They started to get some calls. I think it's great. It's fun. So even if your team isn't into it, you can at least cheer against the other team.
Right. Exactly.
So, watching all those close games that the Chiefs had last year and the year before where they pulled some real stuff out of their butts just to cheer. You're in there. You want to watch it. You're excited to watch it. A game at 6 o'clock that normally you shouldn't give 2 rats hinds about. So, yes, Evil Empire is great. You got Jalen Carter there. He's like one of the baddest men on the planet.
Yep.
And a lot of people in Chicago said, man, we could have had him instead of our right tackle that we drafted. But we didn't. We were too gun shy. Just like, no, because you needed to have Corey Simon there to take this man. He was a wild stallion. He was crazy.
Right.
And you needed to have men with a reputation to say, okay, come in here. We're going to show you this is how you become a man. This is how you do it. So this is your team. So that way he doesn't become a head case. He doesn't get busted for going out to the strip joints and making bad decisions openly.
Right.
And Jalen Carter is just a bad man, and he's going to be an anchor for quite a long time. And he helps a lot. He gets all the interior line that come down, crash on him, and that just frees up those edge rushers, which is what killed Patrick Mahomes, and it helps that secondary too. So yeah, this is young, this is scary. You don't see a weakness. They got the depth. They keep drafting the depth. I think this is going to be the next Evil Empire. Mahomes is still going to be there for another 2 years, but I think with this defense, the Eagles have a legit shot at being relevant for 4 or 5.
I don't think the Chiefs are going anywhere, but I do have a hard time seeing the Chiefs win a Super Bowl in the next few years. I think they got to retool some stuff because their defense is not young, other than McDuffie, basically, right? Their defense is older. They've got a whole bunch of new weapons. So, I think the Chiefs, that's what I'm saying. I actually don't think they're going to go to the Super Bowl this year, but I don't think they're going anywhere. I think the Eagles are more scary, not necessarily because just because of recency bias. Yes, they just won the last Super Bowl, but they were there 2 years ago against the Chiefs, and their defense did not do well in that game. Remember the whole turf thing that happened here in Arizona? They brought in brand new turf, and everybody was slipping around, and they got no pressure on Mahomes, and and I think that hurt their feelings, and they came after him this time, and they sure got pressure on him this time. So yeah, I think the Eagles are primed to be the next Evil Empire because they have so much young talent around them. And they got
Vic. Vic said, "Oh, I'm done." They asked, "What do you want to be, a head coach again?" He's like, "No, I'm good. Yeah. I am where I want to be." He was, he is a Pennsylvania boy growing up. He's home. Yep. And that's the big thing that helped Andy Reid is he's had Spags for all these years.
Well, you guys are forgetting one major aspect of the Evil Empire. Okay, the Patriots had Giselle. Okay, the Chiefs have Taylor Swift, and the Philadelphia Eagles have terrible fans and terrible hip hop artists and boogies, and everybody hates somebody for people to either love or hate. Right, the Philadelphia fans.
That's Jason Kelce right now. Jason Kelce's the hot lady for the Eagles. That's
Jason Kelce, Jason Kelce and his wife.
And for Philadelphia, that's pretty. I think that fits pretty well.
Yeah. Jason Kelce.
I think that actually fits pretty well. So there's a really funny Instagram video going around of Eagles fans. They find a baby in a car and they're like, somebody get this baby out of the car. And then one of them's like, oh, he's got a Cowboys jersey on. They're like, forget that baby. Yeah. And they walk away. So that's Eagles fans, folks. And I think Jason Kelce, he's their hot bitch, and that kind of works. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, we'll see. But yeah, I think the Eagles are the scariest team. I also, as much as I hate to admit it, I do appreciate Evil Empires. They make it's fun to cheer against somebody almost as much as it is to cheer for your own team. So like I
said, my little kids, they know nothing about football other than my 7-year-old. He's a Lions fan just because Lions go roar. Yeah. But both my little kids, they were just so excited to cheer against the Chiefs for the Super Bowl. Fun in Super Bowl my entire life this last year.
No, I don't like the Eagles at all. I do not like them at all. I hate them. But you bet your ass I was cheering for the Eagles in that game. Oh yeah, like it gives me a reason, right? You know what I mean? So yeah, and the Eagles have a tendency to take down some of the empires. Their last Super Bowl win was against Tom Brady and the Patriots, right? When Big Dick Nick had his amazing game. So Nick Foles, University of Arizona, everyone knows you. But yeah, so the Eagles, I mean, they're prime, man. We'll see what happens. But yeah, if Nick Fangio is going to stick around as defensive coordinator, I think that to me is the biggest indicator that they're going to be dangerous for a long time, and the young guys, of course. So, all right, well, that was a fun discussion. We got some topics, more things to come, guys. Hype, you got anything else to add before we go for the night?
Yeah, so Family Day was Saturday for the Packers, and there was another thing that I guess another question we can ask that's kind of like the first question is, the Packers so far in training camp and Family Night look like exactly the same team as last year. Running around defense, offense that can't score in the red zone, kind of doesn't feel like they're just kind of like not like half the plays they look great. Throw a pass, get yards, whatever, it looks fantastic. Then the other half of the plays, it looks like they're not sure exactly. Jordan Love doesn't, whatever. He doesn't, there needs to be a next level being taken. And part of it might have been like Kraft wasn't practicing. You know, some people, they like hold out a practice, they're hurt or whatever. So maybe when they're at full steam, you know, they're scoring in the red zone. But the thing is, like, that's not going to happen all the time. You still have to be able to make things happen and make them work. So my question for you guys is, does that mean anything to you? Does training camp mean anything? Because now on one hand, you might say training camp doesn't mean anything. In the regular season, they might be fine. But the Packers have a track record of starting slow, looking not good on offense. And last year, they kind of just never got on track. Right. So do you think this means anything that in training camp and Family Night, they kind of still look like they're stuck in that rut on offense?
I think it means very little, but I mean, it means something, but it's, they've been practicing for a week and a half, 2 weeks. Like, they're going to be in that rut, you know? Like last year, they came off on a high. This year, they're coming off on a low, and they're going to have to find a way to rev it back up, and they're going to have to find a way to change the narrative. And that's what training camp's for. So, yeah, I'm not worried.
And it also could mean the defense is just better. They might be because they have, they're learning the system more. A lot of the guys are young. Valentine at cornerback, bringing in guys, whatever. The defense would be nice if they were better this year. But on the other hand, once the season starts and you play real NFL teams, it might be a completely different story whatsoever.
Yeah, playing against your own teammates that you see every day and you know the plays and this and that. There's just not enough of reality in there for me. When they start practicing with other teams, or like preseason games don't even mean much to me, but like in those practices where they practice in pads with other teams and they usually fight, like, you know how that goes, right? Like, those to me are, I think, a bit better indicator. But even so, I still think it takes a few weeks of the regular season to see what we are. And I'm not really worried about the offense starting to struggle. I kind of anticipated that. And I think they'll get better.
The best part of Family Night was the fireworks at the end. Actually, the fireworks show was almost better than the show we got at the NFL draft. It was pretty awesome.
Interesting.
The stadium is packed. I think they should do that every game. Every game, they should end the game with just like a huge fireworks show. Would be fun.
They do love fireworks now. They shoot them all off. Should we ask
also when you leave the stadium, it's not as crazy to get out of there because people are watching the fireworks show. But okay, question number 2: Bears Family Day had way more people show up than normal. They've got 18,000 people this weekend, and that's pretty good. That's good. You know, Packers, this is like a very traditional thing for them. The Bears fans showing up more during the offseason, is this a sign of things to come? Is this going to help the Bears improve, Dave?
It's irrelevant.
Yeah. I mean, people are excited because they got the number 1 overall pick quarterback, and they got the best option for head coach in the offseason. So Bears fans should be excited. But there's other things to do in Chicago.
I just got to give the Bears credit when they do something right once in a while.
No, you don't. And on that note,
I already threw Caleb Williams under the bus. So.
Here's something right for you.